Hi, everyone. So, this week, our counseling topic is perspective taking, being a perspective detective. And when you are being a perspective detective, you're thinking about the thoughts and feelings of others, even if they're different than your own. So, you're putting yourself into someone else's shoes and looking at a situation through their point of view. And as we've talked about, when you're good at perspective taking, it can help you, one, be empathetic, because when you're able to consider the thoughts and feelings of others, you're able to really think about that and empathize with how somebody else might feel. It also helps you be a much better problem solver, because when you can look at a problem from someone else's point of view, it can help you develop strategies or solutions that are going to work for both of you instead of just one of you. So it helps with both of those. So this week, the first thing I sent home in your packet were these two cartoons, and I use these with fifth graders every year. So if you're a fifth grader, you might recognize these. And I hope you were able to talk with someone about them. The first one has this person on a desert island, and he's all by himself, and he's very excited because he sees someone in a boat, and he says boat because he thinks this is his rescue. He is now going to be saved. And then it flips your perspective to the person in the boat, who obviously has been floating in the ocean forever and finally sees land. And from his perspective, he's going to be saved. And he says land. And so they're both seeing it from a completely different perspective. And it really forces you to flip your mind on how you think about things. And what makes it kind of funny is the fact that neither of them are saved. But now that at least they're not alone. And then the second one, this one always blows my mind in terms of how this is drawn. So on this side, you have a person who sees 4 pieces of wood. And on this side, you have a person who sees 3 pieces of wood. And both of them are right. From their perspective, that's how many pieces of wood there are. And so something about this cartoon that I really like also is that it shows that perspective taking is something you can do intellectually when you're thinking about how somebody else is thinking, but it's also something you can use artistically. So drawing with perspective can really kind of force people to see things in a different way. So I hope you got a chance to talk with somebody about these two cartoons. All right, but on to what I had you guys work on today. So we are kind of taking a lot of things we've talked about in looking at perspective taking, because starting in third grade, when we start talking about your feelings, and we talk about the fact that it's your thoughts that determine how you feel. So you have a lot more control of your feelings than you think. And it's also your thoughts that control your actions. You don't just do stuff. You do stuff because you think something first. And it may be a split second, and you may not realize that your thoughts are controlling your actions, but they are. And so I really wanted you to practice that when we looked at perspective taking. And so I did the first example to kind of help you, because it can be a little confusing with all the arrows. So I wanted to make sure you really understood. So we start with the action. Okay, because that's what you know has happened, and we're pretending this is what you've done. But then we need to go backwards, and we need to think, what was the thought that controlled the feeling and the action? And so the action for the example is interrupting my partner. You're working in a group or a partner, and you're talking over them. It's something we've all probably done before. And the thought is, I don't want to forget what I was going to say. And that's a really common thing. And your feeling is you're really excited about what you want to say and you don't want to forget it. And so you interrupt the other person. But then when you flip that and when you think it from the other person's point of view, what they're thinking is that you're really rude and they want to turn to talk. And their feeling based on that thought is they're frustrated and annoyed. So look at the difference between your feeling and their feeling. You're feeling excited about what you want to say, and they're feeling frustrated and annoyed. So sometimes when you take a time to think about someone else's perspective, it can also really help you think, okay, should I change my behavior? Because if you're really excited to work with this partner and your partner is really frustrated and annoyed working with you, they're probably not going to want to work with you again. So being able to understand it from their point of view can help you change your behavior so that you are not causing other people to think and feel negatively about you. So for the rest of them, I gave you the action, and then you were supposed to go back and think, okay, what would be the thought that goes through my head that and my feeling that would cause that action? So for this one, the thought might be, and this is human nature, and we've talked about this in class before, when you see someone fall and things go flying, it looks comical. And in a movie or in a YouTube video, lots of people think it looks funny, but in real life, it's not funny. People can get hurt, but your thought can be, oh, that's hilarious. That looks really funny. And then your feeling is humor, silliness. It makes you happy. It makes you laugh. And so you laugh at what they're doing. But when you flip it and you look at the other person's thought, you're in their shoes. They've just fallen. They've dropped everything. They've hurt themselves. Their thought is probably, oh, that hurt. Oh, people are laughing at me. That's really mean. And then their feeling is going to be really embarrassed. So your feeling is silly, funny, happy. Their feeling is embarrassed, hurt, angry. Completely opposite perspectives. And when you can think of it from somebody else's perspective, sometimes you can catch yourself, that natural reaction of laughing, you can catch yourself and remind yourself it's not funny from their point of view. And so really fill these out and really think about what would be your thought and your feeling that would cause that action. And then how would the other person think about your action and how would that cause them to feel? So that's that first page. So the next one, and this is really important to remember too, not all of our actions are negative. In fact, I hope that most of your actions are positive. And so for this one, the action is you invite a new student to sit with you at lunch. What would be your thought? What would be the thought that would cause that action? The thought might be, oh, and it might be a really empathetic thought. They might be feeling really lonely, or they might be feeling nervous, or you might be remembering when you were the new student and somebody invited you to have lunch. And then your feeling would be one of empathy, thoughtfulness, care, and you want to do something nice for somebody else. And so your action shows that. And then think about what the other person's thought might be. If they get invited to sit with someone at lunch, they might be thinking, wow, this is a really nice school, or this is a really nice person. I feel welcomed. I'm having a really good first day. And then their feeling is going to be one of happiness, joy, feeling safe. So your actions really can impact how somebody else feels. And when you think about the other person's perspective, it can really help you make better choices yourself. So I'm not going to go through all of these because I think now that you have the idea, you're going to look at the action. You're going to go back and ask yourself, okay, what would be the thought and the feeling that would trigger me to do that? How would the other person feel in that situation, and what would be their feeling? And so there's that one. And then, hold on. And then there's two more. You roll your eyes when someone gets an answer wrong. You tell someone you like their haircut. So there's a few more of where I've made them up. And then on the last page, I said, now it's your turn. I want you to think of two things you have done to a family member. One positive. Hopefully those are really easy to think of. And one negative. And then you're going to write them under my action. So this is my action up here. That's the positive one. So right here, you would write something positive you did to someone at home. You're going to write what was your thought and your feeling that caused you to do that positive action, and how do you think the other person thought and felt about what you did. And then same thing, but this time you're going to think of something you did that was negative, that was not nice, that was not kind, and write down what you did. Think about what your thought and your feeling were that caused you to make that choice. And then how did the other person feel? And then what I want you to do, it says right here, share with that family member and have them tell you whether or not you guessed their thoughts and feelings correctly. So once you've finished this page, I want you to show it to someone, the person you wrote about, whether it was your mom or your brother or sister or your dad. And I want you to say, hey, this is what I thought I did positively. This is how I thought you felt and thought about it. This is my negative one, and see if you guessed their thoughts and feelings correctly. Were you able to put yourself in their shoes and see it from their perspective? So, really good practice. Remember, when you are good at perspective taking, it helps you be more empathetic. It helps you be a much better problem solver because you're able to see solutions that would work from both sides. And it also helps you kind of reflect on your own behavior and maybe make different choices. And it can make you a better friend, a better son or daughter. And it can make people want to be around you more if you're able to see things from their point of view. That's all there is for this week. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.